Hey, I don't have a huge amount of time this evening, so I thought I was just going to quickly fix the statistics writer problem that I had the other day, which is where our composite statistics writer can't take in a list of all other writers because the container throws a bidirectional dependency exception. If we go up and have a look at the container, it's in this one, I think. Yep. So we're telling it for a statistics writer interface that we want to use this composite statistics writer. But if we change this back to what we want, which is an IEnumerable of iStatistics writers, called imaginatively writers, and we're going to write that to our writers array, like so. Now the trouble is, when StructureMap tries to build this component, it tries to resolve this list of statistics writers, and it'll give an instance of every statistic writer it knows about to this array. The trouble is, that also includes the composite statistics writer. So composite statistics writer is going to get an instance of itself back through the constructor, which obviously breaks. So StructureMap throws a bidirectional dependency exception. So we have a test for it here. And I've just broken things by changing that constructor, so I'll just rebuild those. Now our test doesn't need to change because we're still going to get an instance of iStatistics writer, and then we're going to check that it's not null because we're casting it as, and then check that it contains all of the right children. Right, so let's fix this test. It's just a new, to have the type specified as well. So we'll do that. Oh, okay. Do that. That. And let's just put those onto some new lines so that it's a bit more readable. Right. So how we're going to fix this is to use a class which I had some help with the other day in the StructureMap getter room. Thanks to one of the users in that, we came up with this. So what essentially this class does, and this is a pull request I have open on StructureMap to include it into their documentation, is we just tell StructureMap that when we want to build an instance of the of the composite, that it uses a specific list of dependencies, so we can forcefully not include the composite itself. So this is called a composite decorator. Yeah, that'll do. Now let's paste this in. Get rid of all these pluses. And if I do map, now there is a keyboard shortcut in Rider. Little do select next, I think it is. Alt J, that's not a good shortcut. Control D is the right shortcut. Yeah, it's removed from everything else. Right, so now I should be able to do that. There we go. Right. And that needs a StructureMap registry on it. That needs that. Right, so as an explanation of what this is doing. When StructureMap does a scan operation, if you've got any custom registration conventions, it'll execute them for all of the types that it's found, which come through on this property. Registry is the container registry, like an area of the container that you're building up. So what we do here is we find all of the types available, which are concrete, where they can be cast to a specific interface. In our case, we will pass in the iStatisticsWriter for this, and that it has a constructor available. We then filter it out so we remove anything that is the composite, so in our case, CompositeStatisticsWriter, and when we create a list of this, so we don't keep reiterating the collections. Now we come down to the registry, and we say, for the composite, so for an instance of one of the dependents, which in our case is iStatisticsWriter, use the composite. For the composite's parameter, constructor parameter, which is an IEnumerable or something enumerable, so either an array or an IEnumerable, possibly an iCollection, not sure about that. When there's an enumerable parameter of the right type, we will register into that parameter every one of the types that we found earlier, which is this line. And that's it. So to use that, we now go to our REST registry. Now, we don't need that line anymore, and we already removed, we did have a line that said something along the lines of add all types of iStatisticsWriter. And we'd already removed that because it wasn't working. But in our case, we can now just say convention. Now we say CompositeStatisticsWriter, and the type that we're going to wrap is iStatisticsWriter. And that should be everything unless I've specified it backwards. Type must have structure in order. What? Didn't think I'd put that as a convention on there. Oh, yeah, obviously. Specifying it wrong. Right, we need the composite decorator. And this now takes our two type parameters. And that's all we should need to do. This will instruct StructureMap that out of all the types found, when an iStatisticsWriter is requested, return one of these, and populate its constructor argument with all other implementations of iStatisticsWriter. So if we're lucky, rerunning this test should now pass, or should still pass. Which is now showing that we are correctly resolving our CompositeStatisticsWriter instance. So we should now actually be able to test the thing. So if I debug this, debug Crispin REST, and we'll use test RESTful service feature. Yep, that's the correct port. Right, so let's get rid of that. Let's make a post text name test. So post /toggles Probably need to give it a content type. Right, so that created successfully. Now this one doesn't have any statistics on it. But if we now go to that URL, and let's just open up the logging statistics writer, stick a breakpoint there, and we'll also stick a breakpoint on the statsd statistics writer. Hopefully we'll see both of these breakpoints hit in a minute. Now, the type that has statistics on it is the update state one. Yeah. So if we now view /state, which is a GET request, that's our first statistic. Yep, query of the toggle. Parameters. Ooh, that one hasn't actually been rewritten. And now we've hit the statsd version as well. So we got both of those written. And if we look through this somewhere, there we are. The logging statistics writer output statistic toggle this ID. It's queried. I'm not sure if that's a good statistic or not, but there we go. And the statsd one would have taken it and done nothing because there is no statsd daemon listening. So let's just add all this in. Help if I could actually hit the right keys. Yep. So git commit composite statistics implement construct. So implement the CTOR properly. Fix StructureMap registration. Great. Now that we've done that, I just want to see if I can find everything that calls this right count, because we actually changed the structure of that the other day. But apparently I missed something. Right, it's this project handlers. Yep, so I've missed these. And because of the way I've rewritten how these actually get written, because they're now using what's the term? Semantic logging style. So this is how a new one looks. So we'll take that same structure, we'll remove that, and we're not querying the state. We should just say red. That's it. I don't think I need to put anything more for that. And all we need to pass in here is the toggle dot ID. And because this is now using semantic logging styles, not only do the writers get this as a string, they can call a render method. They can do render and pass it in this list of parameters, and it'll create a nice string that will actually have the GUID here. But it also means that we can read these properties as names later. So our internal statistics writer, which is going to power the API, will be able to query it by, say, toggle ID, and toggle ID will resolve to the actual ID rather than just having a string of things. Right, where is that find window? There's another one we missed here. I say we missed, I don't really mean I missed. Toggle ID. This is get single. Did I call it red in the previous one? Yep. And in this case, it's just toggle. No, it's response.toggle. Ready. Right, that's better. Let's add those back in. That is fixing metrics for loading toggles. I still need to work out what would make a good metric, like a name for things, and what ones we actually need to log to be able to provide the dashboards. And we're getting to the point where we'll need to implement some kind of persistent storage, so a persistent event store, and some persistent storage for these toggles, for these metrics. Yeah, and then once we have some level of persistence, we'll then be able to write a UI on top of things, which is where things will get more interesting, or possibly more profanity as I attempt to write JavaScript. You've been warned. So I'm going to push that up to GitHub. So a really short stream today because, like I said, I started a lot later than I intended to. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, send me a message on Twitter, @Ponderdom on that, as always. And there's probably some links below the video to the GitHub repository of this as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow for hopefully a slightly longer stream.